Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to episode 37 of By the Fire. We had a little break last week, our first week off in quite a bit, with our Meg and I being out of town, but we're back in action this week. It's been a huge week in the Vulcan Forged ecosystem, so a lot of really good stuff we're going to be getting into today. As always, we are joined this afternoon/evening by Walter Chambers and Glitch Viking. How we doing today, fellas?
Doing good, man.
Good.
Fantastic.
Me and Glitch were having a little banter before we went live there, and he got frozen by audio going live. Couldn't finish.
Can't rebuttal.
Maybe.
Yes, but it's fantastic to be back after a week off. We have a special guest today. William, the CEO of Coorest, is going to be joining us on stage here very shortly. In addition to that, a lot of good stuff. It was an amazing Vulcan Forged news segment from Neswolf this week. A little bit of acting he brought into the mix there. Probably my favorite one to date. Actually, definitely was my favorite one to date, I would say. Land staking, of course, went live 2 days early, was huge. A little bit of issues that took place there, with some PYR getting burned, but all those have been resolved up to this point. Huge shout out to Glitch, Yap, the Vulcan Forge team, who was handling all that stuff. Moon Maiden drop was teased. Little teaser of Vulcan Social, the 100K hide and seek events coming up soon. New Vulcan Runner build was just released, in addition to a whole lot more we're going to be covering on the show. So a lot of very good stuff. And section 1 today, guys, is Coorest, and we won't waste any time getting into this here. So we are very excited making his By the Fire debut today. We have William Zijthoff, CEO of Coorest. William, thank you very much for joining us, man. How are you doing today?
Yeah, thank you. Well pronounced. I'm very good. Thank you. Yeah, it's awesome to be here. I'm honored.
You rehearse well.
You guys don't know this,
Thank
but
you.
Mukti is sweating like crazy right now because he was so paranoid.
You see his sweat pearls.
One of the trickier names you will come across. Absolutely. But yeah, William, so for those of our viewers who are not familiar with Coorest or you yourself, could you give us a little bit of background information about you, your role at Coorest, and what you were doing in your career leading up to the role that you're taking on within Coorest now?
Yeah, sure. So my name is William ten Zijthoff. I'm 33 years old. I live in the Netherlands. I graduated in law 10 years ago, and I worked the largest cash collecting office in the Netherlands, I think maybe in Europe. And then after around 2016 or 17, when everybody got into crypto, me too. And I always wanted to start my own company, but never knew what to do. Then just one day it popped up. Plant trees, do something good for the planet, and link it to crypto. And that's how we start Coorest. So I'm the CEO. What we do in Coorest is we try to bridge the gap between the real world and the digital world. We do that by tokenizing real world assets, trees, CO2, animals. Basically what we do, bridging the gap.
Yeah, which and you guys are doing that in a variety of ways, and that's one of the coolest things, in my opinion, about the metaverse space is those any way you can tie it into like real world application, combine the real world to these virtual worlds, is just an idea that has always piqued my interest, and you guys are doing that in a lot of really, really good ways. So one of the most interesting things, well, kind of like the big flagship thing going on with Coorest, is these CCO2 tokens, which is a very cool concept. So the general idea there is that you guys are planting trees. You're helping the Elysium blockchain become carbon neutral by lava transactions, helping to fund trees that will be planted in Spain, and you will then be able to tokenize the carbon emissions of these trees. So if you wouldn't mind starting out with that aspect of what you're doing with Coorest, kind of how that all works and what the plan is coming for the CCO2 tokens.
Yeah, I think the CCO2 is the most important thing we have right now. Everybody knows carbon credits, and carbon credits are not really helping the planet. It's something that might happen or might not happen because it's a credit, and it's not transparent. And what the beautiful thing about blockchain is that everything is transparent. And we created a way to link 1 kilo of absorbed CO2 to a token. So it's a CCO2. But it's generated block for block, but only after it has been absorbed. So we're not issuing a lot of carbon credits for the future. We're only creating the CCO2 tokens for the actual absorbed CO2, and that gives. I mean, the CO2 contract is linked to an NFT contract, and it's filled with GPS data, species, planting date, and if I now transfer my CCO2 token to you, and you transfer it to Walter, and Walter to Glitch, and then Glitch can still see where that CO2 was absorbed. So it's a whole new level of transparency in CO2. And I think this is exactly what is needed to make a change in the world. Everybody knows climate change, and doing it in a transparent way.
Yeah, and the idea of being able to like tokenize nature in a sense is pretty amazing. And one thing that I'm curious about here, so we have, this is what we're looking at here, guys. This is the official Coorest website. We're under the solutions page for individuals, which they have a lot of information about what's going on with their project right here on their website. So this section here, William, in regards to the CCO2 tokens, it says you can trade your CCO2 tokens or burn them to compensate your emission by getting a PoCC certificate. So what exactly are you meaning by that when it says compensate your emission? And what is sort of the role you see these certificates playing within the project?
Yeah, in Europe, every day, I think, maybe every hour, it's in the news that companies and individuals need to offset their CO2. It's going crazy. Companies are paying millions of euros per year in CO2 allowances that allows them to have that CO2. What we created is the CO2 tokens you can burn, and when you burn those CO2 tokens, you get a certificate, scan an NFT. We call it the Proof of Carbon Compensation Certificate, the PoCC, and that gives you the hash, the reason, the date, the name of our company, and signature, and that's your official proof of CO2 compensation. And what is the best thing is that we are in a very far process of being the first certified CO2 token in the world. It has never been done. It's always been credits, yeah, we are in the final stages. We created our own Coorest carbon standard. It means that we have to deal with the same standard as with Verra or gold standard for the carbon credits. So you have all those rules. Our ecologists are going crazy, and that you are certified with that CO2 token. So you know that it's recognized by the UN, that the CO2 tokens you can use to offset your emissions.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, it really is just a fascinating idea here, and so there's a lot of really cool stuff also on their website, guys. You can see here, they have a calculator. How much CO2 will you compensate? Our team has created a special CO2 calculator. With this calculator, you can calculate the carbon compensation based on our NF trees. So have you guys done sort of like test rounds, like tested the tech you're going to be using for all this, just to, I guess, get an estimation about the yield that each tree will be getting?
Yeah, it's not really about the tech for this, what we need, but we need the research from the ecologists, that how much CO2 the tree absorbs, and then there are a lot of calculators. We create our own and then you can calculate what your CO2 emissions are and how many trees you need to plant to offset it. So it's all about, I mean, we are crypto. You have to combine the crypto world, the crypto space, with the scientific world. Of course, scientific world is very slow and large because they are scientists. They need to research everything, but that's good because now we know that everything that our fig trees, for example, we do the calculations, and then those are the tokens that we issue. So yeah, everything needs to be checked and double checked and triple checked by the ecologist. Otherwise, we cannot get that certification.
Very nice. Okay. And yes, so there's a few things in regards to Coorest that we want to get into here. So I know you guys have an upcoming metaverse, NovaTerra. That is looking really, really good. We have a trailer for that we're going to show in a minute here. You guys are going to be in Spain soon, planting your first round of trees. And you also have this cool concept of tokenizing wildlife, which is fascinating. We actually heard when we had Yap on the show a few weeks back, he kind of gave us a first little glimpse or idea of what you guys are going to be doing there. So I imagine to put all this together, you need a pretty impressive team. And one big thing in the Vulcan Forged community that I hear all the time is how impressive the Coorest team is and has been. So when you were starting this company, a few years back when you first had the idea for it. What was kind of the process with how you went about putting together the team, getting everyone? Did you know a lot of them ahead of time? Did you have a pretty intense vetting and recruiting process? How did you put together this group that you have building this out right now?
Yeah, the funny thing is that Coorest only exists for 6 months. Officially, we are founded in October last year, and
wow, okay.
Every time I repeat that, I'm amazed myself that we're only 6 months old. But we started back in the day in I think in February 2020. 2021, sorry. Nick and I had a meeting. Nick, our CTO, about another company that I was working for, about how we can lift that and improve that to the blockchain. So we started talking about how we can, trees on blockchain, and what do trees do. We have fruit trees, they have a yield, and they absorb CO2. So how can we disrupt that market that we have with carbon credits? So we started to form a team of board members. First, Peter joined, our CFO. He's also my father, so that communicates easy. And then Jeroen and Charlotte joined as marketing communications. And then we started recruiting. We used LinkedIn a lot to recruit for new people. And basically, we are super lucky. I mean, the team that we have around 35 people now in our team. They are piece by piece. They are all amazing people that help us lift Coorest to this level. I mean, we did a private sale 4 weeks ago, so we did not have any funding before that. So they all believed in the project. And I think that is what makes a team super strong, is that they believe in the project, and then they get rewarded when the project is live or when it goes good. But believe in a project is the most important thing you need to do.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think a big part of like the belief behind Coorest, at least for our community, is this link that you guys have with Vulcan Forged, and how you are, because a big appeal for Elysium from like an outside perspective is this aspect of carbon neutrality, which is something I think would be cool to talk about. So what exactly is it going to look like from the perspective of your partnership with Elysium? So actually a couple questions here. First, I'm curious about how that partnership was formed initially, like what your connection was, how you first got in touch with Jamie to bring all this about, and then also, I guess, what the process looks like from when people are playing games and burning these tokens to them coming into funding for you guys to plant these trees and get all the forest set up that will be setting up these trees for the CCO2 tokens, essentially.
Yeah. Well, we first got in contact through Venly. Venly, they said, right, we have a big partner, Metaverse game, and they are interested in talking to you. We are very young, we just started, and then we got in contact with the Glitch, then Jamie, and we explained what we do. And basically what they told us is that there's a large group in Vulcan, philosophers, that they were talking about carbon neutrality and how to more sustainable way of gaming. And from the one thing came the other. So we started with our trees on the marketplace. And very quick, we sold. I think we sold 5,000 trees in 2 months. So it's super fast. And then I think Elysium was still in the child shoes, so there were nothing to the public yet. But once it got more to the public, we start talking again, and how, all right, we want to use trees to offset the emissions from the Elysium blockchain. And we want to use, the beautiful thing is that because it's 100% transparent, it's not, and currently, yesterday in the Netherlands, it was we have Earth Today, and Earth Today is, you can, for €1, you can preserve 1 square meter of land somewhere in the Amazon. They were it was not good news, because first of all, euros is way too expensive, and you have no check of that if that land is really planted with a tree. And that blockchain tech solves all those problems. So the guys from Vulcan know, all right, we have a smart contract, it's filled with GPS data, we know that the trees are really there, we can visit them, We can plant them wherever we want in Europe. If we want to do it in Greece, we can do it in Greece. So yeah, we had a lot of meetings, and the clique has always been there. They are very supportive to us. We can help them with this carbon neutrality, and from here we are. I mean, now Elysium is launched, and transactions will happen in the future. And for every X transaction, there will be a tree planted to have the first 100% transparent, neutral, CO2 neutral blockchain. There are a lot of blockchain that claim, Polygon's in the news, they're using carbon credits. Yeah, that's not the solution. Credits is not the solution because they can be cut down next year or 2 years. So Elysium is the first one who does it with absorbed CO2. I think that will be huge if other projects hear about it. Yeah, very good.
Yeah, I absolutely think so. Like, I think for some, like, this transparency is going to be a really big like aspect of success. And I mean, so you guys have a trip coming up here soon. We're going to be going to Spain to plant the first batch of trees, right? And you're even bringing some members of the Vulcan community. So you can tell us a little bit about that. Like, how many trees you're going to be planting? How long you're going to be there? Is this something you guys are going to do like every month? Organize a trip out there every so often? Are some of you guys going to be like stationed in Spain to plant these trees in real time, or is it going to be like every month or so? So many transactions will come up to this many trees, and then you'll have a set date where you go and then plant that many trees.
Yeah, but we are now going to plant 5,500 fig trees, so they're yield-bearing trees. We'll do it with plus minus 20 people. Yeah, a lot from the Vulcan community are coming, so that will be awesome. So we are there for a week. We will plant all those trees, and then we have nobody stationed there because a fig tree is not really does not require that much attention. You just need to leave it alone, and it grows. And you need to trim it once a year, twice a year, and you have to pick the fruits once or twice a year if they are old enough. And for the other batches, what we do is we do it in batches. So we sold the first batch. Now we're going to plant it. Now we have the second and the third batch online, the regular trees and the yield-bearing trees. And once they are sold out, we are going to plant it. So it's structured, and because we have to deal with real-world assets. I mean, the company is backed by land and trees, and I cannot call a tree company and say, all right, I want to have 20,000 trees next week. Let's go.
Yeah.
We have to schedule it.
Yeah, gotcha. So is it it's basically going to be in line with when those trees sell out. So they'll be open to the community, and then we'll look something like there'll be a lava fund from the lava that's from getting burned, or the percentage of lava from transactions that's going to the trees will get stacked up, and then I guess every so often, sort of like it kind of reminds me of like sweeping the floor of an NFT collection. It'll just, that fund of lava will use to buy X amount of trees, and that'll help expedite the process of that batch selling out. Is that
Yes.
kind of the idea behind that? Okay, very nice. And so one thing I want to get into is NovaTerra. Very cool and exciting metaverse you guys have coming that will be on Elysium. We have a couple questions though from the community that I would like to get to first. So Ophid, One Fight Irish Dad, shout out Ophid, asks, gaming aside, I wonder if there's an opportunity / market for persuading or encouraging the larger organizations in the beef industry to look into something like Coorest to offset their emissions, or even airlines via Elysium in some shape or form. Not sure how it will be done. So are you guys in talks with any other organizations, maybe separate from Elysium, that you may be working with and potentially chaining to Elysium in any capacity through what you're doing?
We are B2B sales is very large part of Coorest, especially once that certification is done. We have a lot of interest from companies or projects that want a way to offset their emissions. And I think we are working together with racing games and other metaverses, and then the link is very easily made. So we can, all right, but now you took the first step to offset your emissions, but if you ever thought about being on a CO2 neutral blockchain, I think then that connection is very easy to be made. With Ovid and his airline, we are talking with a lot of airline companies right now that they can, but you can check the box, and then I want to offset my emissions, and then it automatically get burned, and PoCC is being created for your travel.
Okay. Yeah, that's actually really cool because I see in the coming years a lot of sort of just like standard businesses will be finding ways to integrate onto blockchain just to improve their businesses in one way or another, whether it's through transparency or just efficiency. So I could see like this integration with Coorest being a potential link to bring a lot of projects onto Elysium that wouldn't necessarily traditionally be considered like an NFT or crypto project, something like like a beef company or an airline of some kind. So that's actually that's a pretty cool potential link there. So it'll be cool to see how that develops, like what partners you guys are able to establish and potentially tie into Elysium in one way or another. Because we think of Elysium as a gaming or a gaming blockchain, but I don't see any reason why other types of businesses couldn't get involved.
It's much bigger than that, I think. I think you're doing yourself short if you say you're only a gaming blockchain. I mean, there's so much potential in Elysium. There's no old companies. I mean, you have a lot of B2B traditional companies that have no idea about blockchain and how to work with it. And if we can then bring them together and introduce them to Elysium, I think it can be huge. It will be huge.
Yeah, that's actually very exciting to think about. Because yeah, traditionally when I do think of Elysium, I think of like I do kind of view it as like what's setting up to be the go-to sort of metaverse gaming blockchain. But you're 100% right, where there's a lot of other businesses, types of projects that could be built on there. And a few more questions here. So we have the brewer asks, how is the amount of CO2 calculated that Elysium is using?
Yeah, that's more a question for Jaap. Jaap did some calculations for that. I mean, it's nodes and the electricity from transactions. Blockchain is not easy to calculate on. There are a lot of companies who do that, but Jaap made the calculations for the Elysium blockchain. So I am not aware of how he did that.
Okay. Well, we actually we plan on having Jaap on the show sometime very soon. Hopefully even next week potentially. We'll see.
We will drill him then.
Yeah,
Yes.
he's probably listening.
Give us our answers.
Yes. And then Bergs wants to know, where in Spain are the trees going to be? I'm actually planning a trip in the first week of May.
Cool. Yeah, it's in Caspa, and it's 2.5 hours from Barcelona, 3 hours from Madrid, and an hour from Zaragoza. So it's in the north. It's I have no idea where he is, but always welcome. You're welcome to visit your NF3.
Okay. Yeah. First week of May. That's going to be when you guys are there.
Yeah, that's exactly when we are going to plant.
Yes. Oh, and I see Jayberg actually. Jayberg actually answered that. Thank you, Jayberg. But yeah, Bergs, there you go. So they're actually going to be there at the same time as you. Very, very nice.
Come help and plant. Yeah, there are a lot of Vulcan guys there. So it's like a Vulcan pre-Vulcan 2.0.
Wait, so one second. Technically, the Vulcan community has just become Coorest Sedalians.
Yeah, essentially.
Yes.
Yeah, I like your style. It's like, come on, guys, you can do this. You know, meanwhile,
Here's a shovel.
You know, just get the deck chair out, crack open a cold beer. Oh, you're doing great. You're doing great work.
I'm supervising.
The tree planting squad. Yes,
and sure, make some pictures.
If any of you guys have any more questions, feel free to toss them in chat whenever as we continue on here. And actually, Bowler asked, would it be possible to have your tree planted elsewhere in the future?
Like,
yeah, that's one about the strong points about Coorest is that we are backed by real assets. So if we rug pull a project, we cannot, because we have real assets that can be liquidated if we mess up. And what we are doing now is we're selling our own batches and we plant them, but we also do partner batches. So if he wants to plant 10,000 trees somewhere, then we can talk about it. We can arrange it. We are open. Our short-term goal is to bring as many trees to the blockchain as possible. So we are. I mean, CO2 is not only for us. CO2 will be for everybody. And we are the go-to partner for the CO2 trading. And we can only be the go-to partner. I mean, if KLM now comes and they say, all right, we want 10 million CO2 tokens. Yeah, we don't have that many trees on chain. So we are talking with a lot of projects that plant trees all over the world. And I think next year, maybe this year, we'll start by having 1 million trees on the blockchain.
So that's kind of your anticipated goal for 2023 is 1 million trees.
Yeah, I hope sooner. But
wow.
I think we're talking with a lot of projects. I think 2023 we want to have more than 1 million trees on the blockchain.
Okay, damn, that is
hashtag life goals.
Yeah, that would be huge.
Yeah, we're not gonna plan them all ourselves, but we onboard other partners, other projects that, I mean, if they fulfill if they applied with the Coorest carbon standard, so it cannot be trees for the past 5 years. It has to be additionality. But if you all check those boxes, we can onboard you as a project. I mean, if Glitch is now planting 1,000 trees in his backyard, we can tokenize them and we can start generating the CO2. So that is, it's not only our projects.
That is such a cool idea. So would there be any like hardware associated with that you would need, like if you wanted to kind of do your own trees, like in order to know the carbon emissions of it, like if you wanted to do your own personal forest?
Yeah, what we do is our ecologists they do the calculations, but we need to have the proof of life, of course. So we have satellite data that we can access, and we get satellite data is very awesome. You get a ping if something changes in a certain area. You can set alerts for that. So if then you burn down your trees, you get a ping, and he burned down his trees, and then.
Glitch is trying to double dip and sell his trees to the tree factory, and he
didn't burn them down.
Wait a minute, he sold them.
Glitch just digs up his trees and bags them and resells them off. Like
that is fascinating. I kind of envision like some kind of satellite map where you can view all the Coorest trees that are scattered across the globe.
Definitely.
And then you just see my batch of trees running across the map. Like, what the hell is on there?
You see them moving.
The ends are back. The ends are back.
Okay, so now let's talk about NovaTerra a little bit now, William. So this is going to be Coorest's own metaverse game. So when did the idea for this come about, and how are trees going to be implemented in this? So is there going to be something like through playing the game, you can plant and grow trees in the game, and then they will somehow correlate to real life trees being planted on your behalf?
How we got the idea, we were forced by the Vulcan community to create our own game. With our own
Makes
game.
sense.
Yeah, they said, when is Coorest doing a game? We first started with our Android game, the Tamagotchi, my Coorest tree. Yes, for everybody that keep on whining about the iOS version, it's welcome. And then
the iOS guys are always whining about something.
Yeah, it will be there. It will be there.
Nobody games on iOS.
Yeah, the metaverse. Yeah, what we do is we have a unique earning model. That's because for the first batch we'll sell 4,500 plots of land, and we'll plant 50,000 trees for that. And those trees will absorb the CO2, and the CO2 we will pay out to the players. That means that there can only be as much payouts as there are trees planted. And then for next year, we'll plant another probably 200,000 trees for the rewards. And you can use if you have an X amount of NFTs, you can place one on your plot of land. You get some extra benefits. But all the earnings, we'll plant more trees. That's the goal, to plant more trees.
Okay, so just so I understand that correctly, so you guys are going to be doing a land sale, and then the profits or a portion of the profits from that sale are going to go towards planting a 50,000 tree forest, and then the tokens that forest generates is going to be the play to earn token of the game.
Yes.
So that is one of the coolest things I've heard.
It is really interesting.
Yeah, like that's such a cool real world application for a metaverse game. So you said it's going to be 4,500 land plots, and this is all going to be, so the game will be built on Elysium. I imagine, is that your plan? Or because I know you guys have a lot
yeah.
of partnerships with Polygon as well, and you're doing things with with Bentley and lots of other organizations.
Yeah, we are still finalizing it because what makes us a bit more different than a lot of other projects is that we first start developing and then we start promoting. So we was very quiet about NovaTerra. We released the first trailer last week. We've been building for weeks, of course. So we're definitely talking with Vulcan about how we can do it, and it will be 4,500 plots. And those NFTs, yeah, I imagine that it can be easily on Elysium. Yeah.
Hey, I got a question for you real quick, William, about Terra Nova. So the where y'all came up with the idea, I play board games occasionally, and there's one called Terraforming Mars. I get really big like vibes of Terraforming Mars when I see this. It looks kind of like a Mars environment, but it gives me like the trying to get the planet CO2 and all that kind of stuff, like balancing everything. Do y'all have, what was your inspiration for creating Terra Nova?
In this trailer that you are showing now, you only see the query. So that's one of the instances you have to go to collect your materials.
Okay.
So we have the farms, and we force people to work together. You can choose a profession. It can be a tree farmer, an animal herder, or a crop farmer, but you need each other. So if I need, for example, I need the poo from an animal to fertilize my crops, and you can buy multiple plots, of course, but you can only choose one profession. But there will be 9 farms that are working together, but then a farm is divided in 9 plots. And what you're now showing is the query for collecting the hard materials. We have an oasis for the soft materials like water and trees. And we have a volcano that you can visit to trade. And the idea is it's like a mix of Fallout, farming simulator, and Rust. That's basically.
That's what Walt just said. It
Yes.
reminds me of
I just said, I was like, it looks like Rust. It reminds me of many years of playing Rust.
So
Interesting combination.
Is it gonna be all barren like this everywhere, to where you build the trees and stuff on it, or is it gonna be like some environments are really green compared to others? And
yeah, the oasis is green, very green, and
Okay.
the farms in the beginning, of course, the farms are there like this, but you can level up your plots, you can level up your farms, and you can have more animals. So I hope and we think that in after a few weeks you see a lot of farms, different farms working together, and the opportunities are endless. I mean, you can introduce so many things. I mean, yeah, you all know, metaverse is the biggest thing that's holding you back is your imagination, I think.
the first thing that comes to mind is Yellowstone. Like, I expect farms going against each other, trying to let each other's cattle out of their fences and stuff.
Yeah, what we love will be the most awesome thing is that we can have like a cross blockchain competition. You can have like plots on Elysium, plots on Poly, plots on Ultra, and that they are all competing with each other. That would be super awesome if that's possible. So we are exploring those options.
Very nice. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like a really cool concept for a game. And so on the about page of NovaTerra on the Coorest website is where I'm reading this. The description is, NovaTerra is a metaverse MMORPG featuring a player and model. The game is set in a post-apocalyptic future where humanity has turned the planet into a barren wasteland. The player character is a survivor who is helping to rebuild society and terraform this post-apocalyptic wasteland. So it'll start barren, and then it's up to the gamer to rebuild the society into an oasis, essentially. I love that kind of storyline for this game. Very, very nice. And again, guys, actually I should drop a link to the website here, because everything we're discussing here is on the Coorest website, which is just coorest.io.
Yeah, and NovaTerra website will go live in a week or 2, I think.
Wow.
So a dedicated website for NovaTerra.
So
Very
just
nice,
the
okay.
website going live, you said?
Yeah.
I thought you said Terra Nova going live in a week too. I was like,
Yeah,
wow,
now we wish.
that's bullish.
No-
Oh my
NovaTerra.
gosh.
NovaTerra.
NovaTerra. Yes.
There'll be in, I hope.
Sorry.
In,
I meant.
Look, Armiga's talking about completely separate game.
Sorry.
man.
I know. So Terra Nova going live. Got it. Okay.
Yeah, we hope in Q2, but for the plot sales.
Awesome.
Okay. Yes, because I imagine if this wasn't like a plan you guys had in place like forever to do a metaverse game, if that was kind of something that you were persuaded into doing from the community, is that you're forced into doing? Is that so? Did you just recently bring on like a development team into the mix? Did you already have some capable developers, or how did that kind of play out over the past?
Yeah,
weeks
no, we did not have anybody who could do that. So we started with a project manager, then the Unity developers, blockchain developers, solely focused on this. We did not have anyone. We first started with the gameplay to write it out on the user, of course, your Miro board, then visualize it, and then start developing it. We had to recruit the whole team for it.
Very nice. Okay.
Very nice.
Yeah, I mean, I know it
commitment
takes time.
to peer pressure.
Yeah. It definitely takes time to build out games, especially like a metaverse MMORPG. That's kind of one of the bigger games you could tackle.
Yeah, start small. We start small.
Very nice. Okay.
Yeah.
And so we are running a little short on time here, but one last thing that I want to ask you about, William, which is really one of I mean, everything you guys are doing is so cool, a lot of unique stuff, but one of the coolest things I have to say that I've heard that you guys are doing is this idea of tokenizing wildlife. And so if you could put me on screen share quick, Armega. Right. So this is we're on Coorest.io/projects/wildlife. So the gist of what you guys are doing here, which as it says on the website under wildlife tokenization, the wildlife tokenization project revolves around creating NFT replicas of real endangered animals in African nature reserves. The profit from these tokens will be used to provide food and shelter for the animals, as well as salaries for the staff that takes care of them. So essentially you guys are going to be tokenizing these animals or having a token replica of them, and then the funds that is it going to be the funds that are used to purchase that NFT will then be used to well, I guess as it says here, provide food and salaries for the staff that takes care of them. Where did the idea for this come from? Because it's so cool. And then are these going to be usable inside of NovaTerra or other games potentially? These real life animal NFTs.
Potentially other games, yes. Yeah, but the ideas of our projects are focused on sustainability and wildlife. I think wildlife preservation is very there's not a lot attention for it, or not enough attention for it. So we wanted to create a unique way. So we developed a proof of life system, and those game reserves or wherever the animals are, they need to give a proof of life of that animal. So you know that the funds are being used to take care of that animal. And as soon as they provide with the proof of life, we slowly release the funds. So it's not that game reserve is not getting all the funds immediately. It's a process of depending on how much money we raise, but a year or 2 years. And every month they get enough funds to take care of those animals. And the beautiful thing about NFTs and what they are meant to do and have is you have to have a utility. And we are talking with some familiar people, they are also here in the chat, about having a utility on different places, and then you can own an NFT. It's linked to a real animal and have a utility in game.
Very nice. Okay.
Anonymous gifter, thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, anonymous gifter.
Yeah, 10 subs. Congratulations, new subs. But so William, who? Because it's such a cool idea. So who? And you don't have to answer this question, but who is to credit for this idea? Was it was it a staff member, of course, who just had the idea of this one day, tokenizing wildlife? Is this something you guys kind of had on the roadmap when you first started the company? Because I remember when we first heard about this, it was pretty mind blowing to see the idea.
Walter and his rhino with bulletproof vest.
That's all I've been thinking this whole time. If I don't have the option to hire my lion, an armed mercenary, to defend him from American dentists, then what's the point? Like,
yeah, that ideas. We started talking with the foundation from South Africa, and then the idea. How do they start? Yeah, we just it was in a meeting, and we came up with this idea about partnering with game reserves and tokenizing wildlife.
I remember the morning we talked, and you're like, dude, I want to run this idea past you. What do you guys think of this? And it was like, yes, like it was absolutely yes. Like, but yeah, I can literally remember where I was when you actually came up with when you just after that call, when we followed up on it. I was like, that's amazing, because it just it's such a good use case for it.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
It's crazy that so little time has actually gone past since then.
I mean, the idea of owning, I mean, obviously you don't own the
Ages.
animal, but the idea of like owning, like kind of owning a replication of an actual real life animal that you're helping to sustain and take care of.
Owning a replica tiger.
Like, I mean, I could see that I could see this catching on big time. I mean, that's just
we are
something
already
I'm
already featured in a magazine. It's called Private Game. It's in all Africa. It was distributed. Because what we also do is we have one condition from the game reserve, and that is that they provide with overnight stay for a couple of days for the owner of that NFT. So Walter can meet his rhino.
Yeah.
Or his lion.
Yes.
We do like a raffle of all the NFT holders, and you get a meet and greet with your animal.
That is amazing.
Checking the armory on it.
Just be careful.
Armor on it, yeah.
Just be
Nothing
careful
like
that
that.
the mercenary that you hire might mistake you for that American dentist.
Yeah, it's okay. I understand that. I'll follow all the procedures. Be careful.
Jayberg in the comments asking here, collabing with Extinction Fighters Collection NFT project?
Question mark.
Yeah, we are.
Question mark.
Yeah, collabing with Extinction Fighters. They are doing a cheetah launch, and
Awesome.
we provide with the wildlife, the cheetahs
For the proof of
and
life.
parks, proof of life. Yeah,
Awesome.
that's how we
So
partner
cheetahs
with
are-
Extinction Fighters. Yeah, for them.
So I'm kind of
For us, we
curious.
start with lions.
I'm kind of curious about this proof of life concept. So, what if the unfortunate event happens where an animal just doesn't wake up one morning or something? Is
wakes
it
up
like your
dead.
NFT just kind of burned at that point, or how does that really work?
Yeah, it's kind of cruel to say, but we have a reserve animal.
There's
A substitute.
I mean, I hate to be the guy to bring it up.
Get in the game. Get in the
We
game.
cannot tokenize all the animals. I mean, yeah, animals die, of course.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah, so we don't tokenize all their animals. So let's say they have 10 elephants, then we tokenize 5. So it gives some. Yeah, that's how life
so
works.
you got backup. Yeah, I was about to say like
Oh.
tornadoes
Yeah.
and trees, and what happens if a tornado rips your tree?
Yeah,
You're
because
like, what the hell am I
tornado.
doing?
Oh, I thought you were gonna say
God.
tornadoes for like elephants. Like, dude, what the
That would be kind of interesting
What
too.
the hell?
I
Yes.
would
No,
not get
we're not.
up.
We're not in Kansas anymore.
elephant nado?
Yeah.
Sounds like a good idea. Maybe a
Yeah.
new concept.
We should make a movie. Definitely.
Yeah.
A real upgrade from Sharknado.
It's like Kadek said, my elephant will live forever on the blockchain. He can never die.
That's right.
Yeah.
Just a small downgraded NFT. That's all.
Yeah.
I had a follow-up question in regards to the NFTs, but it's skipping my mind now. I am curious. So, will you have the option? This might be a little like gimmicky. Oh, I actually remember what my question was now. But so this might be a little gimmicky. But there's going to be the option to like name your wildlife potentially or the animal.
I think, yeah. That the park. That was one of the things that the park asked. Do you want to name the animal?
Sweet.
I mean, they have never heard of crypto. Those companies.
Okay.
Those game reserves, and they're like, okay, but how much are you gonna raise? $100? And, yeah, that depends on the utility that we give. What we, our goal is to
It could be
provide
like
with
an
enough funds for 2 years.
I feel like we might pull a little bit more than $100, but
No, I mean it could
Yeah, I
be.
think so
It
too.
could be. It could be like an animal DAO almost. So it's like a DAO.
This is
The
starting
people
to
that
get...
participate have. Nah, I mean you're not starting to get any more complicated. I totally.
No,
the
I was
opposite.
talking about questionable, like moral.
Oh yeah,
animal
but I mean
DAO.
if you've got an animal DAO, right? So you've got the people that are backing that group of animals, they have the right to kind of do a collective vote on the name of the animal, because obviously multiple people will be kind of sponsoring the same animals. So you've got the voting rights for people can vote and they get to name the animals. They get to see where the funds are going. It's multi-sig. It's all the good stuff of a DAO. It could be a really good use case for a DAO. It could be like a Coorest animal DAO almost. So you can see where the charitable side of things is going in a really kind of transparent manner.
I hope Nick is not listening, our CTO, because that's a perfect idea to build in our DApp, of course.
More work.
With the
Great
voting
work, Glitch.
system.
I do apologize, Nick. Sorry, but get back to work, man.
Damn that Glitch.
That is
got a
like
really good comment too, Munkty. Whenever you see that.
Yeah, yep, I see. Tris says this makes endangered species protection into an investment where you are financially encouraged to protect them. It's taking ownership and responsibility of a fragile life. It is like I could see this appealing to so many people. Seriously, like this, just like this concept of actually being able to care for these animals through owning.
We see a lot of people that it's now worth more for the parks to keep them alive. You see, I mean, we don't like to say it, but of course there are also the poachers who get the info from the inside. But if it's more profitable to keep the animal alive because you get the funds every month, then
that's when you release mercenary NFTs that you pair to your animals. Yes. And if you buy the mercenary NFT, your animal now has an armed guard.
Yes, it's like a blockchain game of Risk.
Yeah, exactly.
In real life, you're actually deploying these real mercenaries.
Gosh,
I'm concerned for this rhino's safety. I feel like you get concerned for one rhino, you just assign him like 7 guards. Like the game reserve is just chilling there one day. They all roll up. They're like, "We're here for ruckus rhino."
Before it was Walt was, "Hey, honey, I got to go play a game to make some money." Now it's I got to go save lives. Like I'm literally saving lives.
You've got Floyd rolling up on like riding an elephant. Like, I own 50 of these on the blockchain.
Medallions, nice, Tris, nice.
But so what I did remember what I was going to ask then, and then we will. So because there are a few community questions that I want to that I would like to be able to have you answer before we wrap up. But it was so you might not have even planned this far out ahead yet. But what's sort of the idea for when you release these NFTs? Is it going to be each one kind of up for auction? Are you guys going to run like a Dutch auction or kind of a traditional auction where there'll be, over the course of a few days, just goes to the highest bidder? Do you guys know what you're going to be doing in regards to that yet?
I really hope that we do this together with Vulcan, and then we can do it, of course, on the marketplace, and we can do a traditional auction for an X amount of days.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I could just see this being a pretty heavily contested NFT collection, especially like if it's limited, like if there's only so many like lions or elephants or whatever that you can sustain through this or help to support through this. I could definitely see this generating a lot of buzz and getting I could see this getting a lot of new eyes onto the Vulcan marketplace as well. If
it does, yeah, because it's a lot of donation. It's now they can donate and have proof. And have a utility, so it's a double win.
And I mean, for this kind of thing, you could use a stable asset for the purchasing. Make it even smoother process for everyone. You got have a mint page, then the marketplace. Obviously, with Elysium coming up, we got the multiple ELS tokens, so that's going to make it a lot easier. But yeah, it would. I think that would be a really good concept, kind of like how we had the hustle page using the hustle. We could do for like this sort of event. Can't see it being a big issue at all, and it's for a really good cause. And good causes are, why the hell not? If we can do it, let's do it.
Oh yeah.
Hey, is Mary Jane talking about Carol Baskins? Isn't that the person who had the big feud with
Tiger King?
Tiger King, man.
Joe Dirt.
I was gonna say the Joe Dirt guy with the long hair. Yeah.
Oh man, if Carol Baskin catches wind of this,
wait, don't tell Carol Baskin where our lions are.
No, wait, Carol Baskin, wasn't she like the person that the Tiger King killed or something?
No, listen, Armega.
Like,
well,
no, wasn't there?
Wow.
Wasn't there a
No.
big?
We need to
watch Tiger King.
I don't. Do I really? Because I was just saying. But no,
Carol,
I thought
she's
that's
accused of killing. She's accused of killing her husband.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So I missed. Okay, missed an episode or 5. That's cool. Yeah.
I just missed a couple of key points,
But yeah, so they like big animal reserves and stuff. Though what I was leading into, unfortunately, I screwed that up. But big animal reserves, like the big cats and everything. Have you thought about pairing up with any of those kind of parks?
Those animals lives in cages. I don't want to own
Yeah.
those ones.
I don't know if that's
I want
a
to
thing.
burn their park down.
Yeah, but I mean,
it's
their whole point though is to save the animals, right? I mean, they're
That's a
trying
lie.
to. Okay. Well,
Yeah, we really want to do the wildlife preservation, and if they cage them, it's not really wildlife anymore.
I mean, there's a big difference between, you've got, like for example, here in the town I live in, we've got one here and there's one further up the coast. They're called bioparks. They're not zoos, they're bioparks. Like they are literally they are really big, kind of like enclosures, but the animals are in a very kind of tailored habitat, and they're there to recover because these are rescued animals from other parks. They bring them there. Some are brought there for breeding. So it's like completely different to like your standard kind of like zoo, because zoos are just
so are those still considered wild then?
Well, they're again wild. They're there to recover. They're there.
Yeah,
to
they're
be,
like it's like
a
a
lot of
rehab
them go
center.
back.
They're being re-released after.
a lot of them get released back, and there are a lot of different animals that like you've got orangutans, you've got all sorts. So yeah.
Well, if that's the case, then if they're on the way to be released back into the wild, that might actually be something to look into as well.
Just to equip them. It's like, oh, I've got this line. Let's equip him with a 50 cal on his back. It's like, fuck yeah.
Strap it to them.
Imagery just popped in my head. That's great.
Also, I just want to point out that Berg said he was going to be a whale, and I found that pretty amusing.
He's gonna...
He's gonna be a whale of owning whales and buy all the whales.
I mean, I feel like having sea life get brought into the equation would be interesting. It may be difficult to track.
Got Armiga there.
A lot of them have chips. I don't think it's that difficult.
Yeah.
Okay.
Let's all pitch on a blue whale.
Nah, man. Armiga's gonna be like, oh yeah, I'm a sardine collector.
Yeah.
I can't afford whales. I can't afford whales.
God.
I'm trying to get a whole tin. Trying to get one whole tin's worth.
Look at that.
Straight to the throat there.
Sorry,
Yeah,
man.
sorry, William. We didn't anticipate low blows on this show. Yeah, this is ouch.
But, all right, a few questions here, community questions I want to get to. So Tris kind of already answered this one, but would like to hear your take on it as well, William. Bergs asks, is there an end game to NovaTerra? As in, what will it look like a year from now?
I don't think there's. If a game has an end game, then it's not really a good game.
Good
Okay,
point.
so there will kind of always be there will always be progression. There's no kind of finish point.
Yeah,
this is a living game.
Yeah,
so
it's
just
hard to
keeps
say.
growing.
I mean, you of course if you want to like a land upgrade, you can only upgrade to a certain level. But I mean, the amount of space in the world is our biggest challenge. I mean, if the space to plant trees is out, then we cannot absorb more CO2. I think that there's not really an end game. We want that the players earn a lot of CO2, and for them to earn a lot of CO2, we need to plant a lot of trees, and we just need to have the gameplay fun to play. I think fun to play is very important. Otherwise, people run away.
If he runs into a point where he can't plant trees anymore, we have done the job. I mean,
then we succeeded.
Man,
I'm gonna retire. Yeah,
that's end game there.
Yeah.
Well, it's just like Rust when you talk about end game. It's not like an MMO where the end game equals like raiding and raid bosses and stuff. It's more like, what's the end game in Rust? Well, you continue building and shooting at people. Like that's just kind of the way the game works.
I think that's generally for NFTs. You don't want to ever think about your NFT becoming not valuable at some point because people just stop. So I think NFTs in general are just kind of a never-ending.
Yeah,
concept.
I think so too.
Yep, very true. And then we have one more question here from Anub Jack, first-time chat from viewer. Welcome in. He asks, would VF and or Coorest have any ZKS? So this may be for you as well, Glitch, if you know, because I'm not sure if I've heard of ZKS. Would VF and or Coorest have any ZKS, zero knowledge strategy, to reach larger markets?
Glitch, I'll let you answer this question.
Pass.
No. I mean, zero knowledge role, but nah, I have no idea how, where, when, why,
Zero knowledge strategy. Let's give this a quick Google here. Zero knowledge strategy.
He has zero knowledge.
I have zero knowledge.
I'm gonna make a strategy.
I'm gonna be super philosophical in this and just say that all I know is that I know nothing. So I have zero knowledge.
Very nice. Well, for those curious,
I'll make a strategy and you're good.
Those curious, just like myself, about what this is, when you Google zero knowledge strategy, it says Polygon's ZK strategy allows independent teams to experiment with different approaches while fostering intense collaboration and information sharing that otherwise would not be possible. Put together, the investments in ZK represent a diversified bet on the future of this technology.
That sounded complicated.
So that did sound a little complicated. What is?
Well, he summed it up with saying people new to blockchain.
Hey, there we go.
I think with us, and I think that this is we're talking about Polygon, but I think that Vulcan and we and Coorest are already doing this. I mean, we are collaborating in an intense way, different approaches, information sharing. I mean, without Vulcan guys, we would not be here where we are right now. So I think we are already doing.
Yeah.
Well, it's like you said when you were talking about the animals. You're saying like they didn't even know whether to expect $100 or $100,000 when it came to tokenizing, right? They know nothing about crypto.
No.
Yeah. Very true.
It's a good question. Difficult question.
Yeah.
Yeah, that definitely was. Well, William, man, appreciate you joining us very, very much. We had initially set out like 30-45 minutes for the segment.
Yeah, sorry about that.
No, I mean, like it was a lot of information to cover. Honestly, I am not surprised.
It never goes to plan.
Yeah. Yeah, very rarely, if ever.
Never got invited anymore. So.
Yes, but guys, in chat here, I'm gonna go ahead and drop William's Twitter. So go ahead and toss him a follow there. I'll also get the Coorest Twitter up in a second. And yes, William, like really appreciate it, man. Anything you want to close out with before we let you go for today?
No, it was awesome being here. Thank you all. I mean, Coorest would not be the same without the Vulcan community. So a big shout out to you guys. I mean, without you guys, we were not at this stage where we are right now. So thank you.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a hell of a ride, man.
Cheers, man.
Yes.
It has been a very impressive rise of Coorest in the last few months, and yeah, really looking forward to seeing where all this goes. To at least going live, the trees getting planted. So everyone, stay tuned. So first week of May will be the first trees getting planted in Spain. Will you guys will there be like videos, pictures coming out from there?
Yeah, of course. Marketing team will go over hours.
Perfect.
Yep.
All right, William. Well, cheers, man.
A few pictures of a drunk Savoy somewhere in the background.
Yeah, probably, yes.
Yeah.
All right, wait. We'll talk to you later, man. If you want to, you can stay connected or you can pop out. It's up to you, but
yes.
Have a good day,
Thank you. I will log into my Twitch, then I'll listen there.
See you there.
Right,
perfect.
Thanks.
Right, thank you guys.
Yep. Later, William. Thank you, man.
Bye.
Bye, man.
See ya. All right, guys. Well, there you go. A lot of pretty amazing stuff going on with Coorest.